There we go. 85 was the magic number, and this guy picked it. So what will we have in response to e4? I've been experimenting quite a bit with many different openings. I've been expanding my knowledge of the game, I guess you'd say. Let's try the Scotch opening. Don't normally play that. I think most of the times I would play Roy Lopez, but let's get some variety in there now. Queen f6 is a move. And I think in response to it, we can also have queen to f3. I'm going to go forward with that. And it's not because I'm overly excited about queen trades, although that usually is the case, but I think that this is a pretty good line. All right. Now, I think I do well to just keep this tension. I've played this before. Let's get my bishop out. I'm not sure what I want to do with this guy. Sometimes c3, maybe d2. The reason I want to keep this tension is because this knight couldn't really move. These doubled pawns wouldn't be as bad as black's double isolated f-pawns. And now I could challenge this bishop, so let me do that. I'm developing with tempo. It's another way to view it. I wouldn't have anything else but to recapture. And bishop back is certainly an alternative. This is one that I'm not so sure about. I think I just develop. Or do I? Yeah, why not? That's not an uncomfortable pin. If the bishop played back to b6, I wouldn't take because of this recapture, and then there's play on the a file. If anything, I would consider a4, a5 to put a question to him. Maybe I should do that right now, actually. Let's see. Put a question to that. What's he going to do? Okay. So I don't have to worry about the bishop challenging my bishop on this diagonal. Maybe I could throw in rook h to g1. I don't see anything wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Castles. Castles, bishop h6. There would still be knight here. Knight h5. Or knight back here. Those would actually be the only two options. I don't know if I would run forward with it. If castles, bishop h6, knight h5, I don't see a way to deflect this knight away from the defensive g7. I have to be careful with this structural defect. I certainly have to be careful about black gaining control over the f4 square. I think in an ideal situation I'd like to have this pawn a bit further. I do have some worry, however, if I play this right now. f4, knight here. Bishop h6, knight here. Pawn push, the king goes in the corner. My bishop is stuck. He's kind of stuck. I'm tempted to maybe play bishop e2. Looks like I'm underdeveloping. f4, knight here. Bishop gets on this diagonal maybe. Maybe that's not so bad. I was thinking bishop e2 so that I could do this without fear of a knight move. Maybe there is something to that. You know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. And you know what? Maybe this is now a bigger threat in some sense. Bishop h6 would maybe, if bishop h6, knight h5 would maybe run into trouble with f4 ideas because the bishop would be uncovered on the h5 square. So we'll see how black responds to that. Material balanced, structural defects, and now pressure on h2. Now that, I think, is going to run into some trouble because now this comes with the serious threat of a fork And also, I'm getting ready to push my opponent's pieces around. I think I do well to do that. So let's grab some space with gain of time. Bishop here, knight here. Pawn push. Pawn push. Oh, this has to be good. Oh, I could do back-to-back moves. Pawn push and then f6, exploiting this pin. This is going to come with tempo. And it might be kind of close to... Oh, this is just hanging the knight. If the knight moved, I had f6, and I was going to win a pawn, but I don't think there's anything better than just taking the pawn. My opponent will maybe get these two. I doubt that there's anything better. There's nothing. There's not going to be anything better. I guess I'm going to be dropping this. Do I really care about that? I just want to trade. Let me complete development. I guess I'm going to have to part with this pawn. I'd rather give up one of my doubled pawns than a perfectly healthy b2 pawn. So, how do I simplify? Alright, let's just get the rooks off. I don't know why that knight didn't move away. Let's offer trades. Get rid of pieces. And with... I don't know about running my king out towards the center just yet, but certainly as it gets more simplified, I will be approaching with my king. But not just yet. This bishop is fantastic on the e3 square. Stops second rank invasions. There's really no hope along the e file or d file. And I think the last thing to do, well, maybe let me just, let's stop that. Just have to make sure of my time. Maybe it's okay to bring my king closer to the center now. Yeah, let me sneak this in. I couldn't do this right away. I'd be dropping b2. I don't want to do that. Let's get out of the way. I'm going to keep that rook right there. And if this rook eventually comes back over here, if we have a trade of rooks and rook plays to c8, I'm going to pile up on the c7 pawn. Let me get out of this pin. I'm anticipating that maybe it would be these pawns who would be more vulnerable than this group of three. Let's grab him. And bishop here. Bishop here, get the bishops off and get a pair of rooks off. This will be another square I'll look into. Squares where two or more of my pieces converge. Let's run with this. Get some more trades. And then I could finally do what? Let's take here. I'm going to babysit my knight just like this for a moment. Sneak my king up, and then my king will have a shelter with my rook. Alright. In some cases, you'll have to... I was just gonna say, in some cases you have to be careful about giving up too many pawns. If you just have a knight, sometimes that could be a bit of a problem. And this is not clean technique. No, it's not. It's not clean technique at all. I don't like this at all. Actually, I could have taken that. Let's do it now. Comes with check. Very, very poor technique. Very, very poor technique. Yeah, this is... you're gonna get all my pawns. gonna get all my pawnies. Save one of them. Can I save one of them? I could save two of them. This is not good. I have to go back to this game because there's definitely a better way to convert that advantage of being up a minor piece. Good game. Let's go back. And before it even got to that point, let's see how to improve for either one of us. So Scotch. I'm not sure what this variation is called. I think the first time I saw it, it was Ivanchuk played it as white against, I don't even know. I'm pretty sure he played it. And anyhow, I'm okay with this double pawn on the F file. So where? Oh, this is one thing that I question. The bishop eventually ends up residing where? Right here, a not so great square. I think better would be to drop him back on b6. And like I was talking about with my idea of throwing a question to the bishop, because I don't want to take because of A takes B, and although they're both doubled and isolated, this rook has play, and you could still be expanding with your B and C pawns. So if you drop back, my idea was to play A4, A5, and put a question to the bishop. I think he does well to stay on this diagonal. I think that might be a slight improvement. And, well, you certainly have to be careful if you're castling into the line of fire here. With... I was going to say queenside castle, but I wonder if I could maybe snip this pawn and get away with it. I'm not sure the concrete lines, if castling queenside is a good idea, but at the very least, consider queenside castling in positions where there's a half open or a half open file for you, or a completely opened D file, because you accomplish two things. You get your king safe and your rook functioning in one shot. That's something to, I think, chew on. You castle, and this is running into trouble. So there's got to be something different. It's tough to get your pieces working. Yeah, I have this central point. This knight is kind of out of play. He can't rely upon h5 anymore. Yeah, I think trading, since I have one way, I guess, to look at it, I have a space advantage. I have a pawn presence in this. I think you'd do well to welcome a pawn exchange, looking again a bit more generally. Another reason why to maybe keep this bishop not only on this diagonal, but to still be in a position to simply trade. Get another pair of minor pieces off, and then you'll do a little bit better with maneuvering. You won't run into trouble with getting pushed around with my pawns. I guess this is really the one thing that I'm just kind of going back to. The decision where exactly to deploy the dark square bishop. I don't think there's any better than the a7 to g1 diagonal. From there it was downhill after I got this piece. All these pawn advances are pretty much coming with tempo. And how could I have done better? Well, here's one thing. Why did I let this pawn get all the way down here? I should have stopped him cold. Yeah, because getting to a4 freezes my b2 pawn. I don't know why I wouldn't have responded with a4. I guess I was too focused on getting my king central. So that's maybe a slight way that I could be improving. Right there. And you're already threatening. I didn't even see this. I was blind to this lateral movement of the rook. The c5 move freeing up this. You threw in the check. Yeah, I missed that. That was a slick little move. If you go here now, I drop my rook back and everything remains defended. I just overlooked that. The heart of my pawn structure, if he goes, they become quite weak. Yeah. Rat race at that point. Okay. Good game. Mr. P for short. Oh, my opponent, by the way, is saying that they thought that I would play c3 in response to their bishop b4 move. And they wanted to spoil my structure. Oh yeah, I understand that. That's like a way to try and break down my structure. I like to be able to have my bishop on d3 as a secure point. So that's why I never really gave that a thought. So that's a good point that you brought up. It was something I was thinking about, but I didn't express it until I just saw your question now. Or your comment, I should say. Okay, let me close out.